New Life is a story of people becoming the church. People just like you, listening to the voice of Jesus and obeying together. It all started with an assignment. Not a vision, an assignment. The assignment was this: start a church for people who don't go to church. 14 people met to talk about what kind of church will this be. This is what they came up with. It's easy to bring my friends. The music is alive and worship is from the heart. There are a lot of opportunities to get involved. I really felt like I made a difference. This feels like my church. 1 week before launching, the team got nervous that nobody would show up. We almost didn't launch, but we decided it would be worth it if only one person came. Over 100 people came, and one of those people was a woman named Lori. She came, but her husband didn't. He was done with church. She was so excited that she went home and made him promise he would give it a try. Just come 3 times. The next week he showed up. That week, and for the next 20 years. The 170,000. That was the number of people in the community around New Life at the time that wasn't part of any church. New Lifers believed that Jesus was inviting them to go on the mission with him in their everyday life. The result? We kept running out of space. So, we made more space. We added more gatherings and more locations because people were responding to the love of God. And the word of mouth spread, and people were inviting like crazy. This is what the community was saying. Clusters, gathering into deep conversations at coffee shops, businesses, and local parks. Groups of young families, recently divorced, singles, empty nesters, women, outdoor enthusiasts, and business people, folks with gray and graying hair. New Life campuses were launched in South Kitsap, Bainbridge Island, North Kitsap, Bremerton, and more. At the 2011 State of the Church, a retired missionary couple was invited to pray over our church. Over 50 years ago in Silverdale, while pastoring a church, Dave drove a school bus around central Kitsap. He prayed that God would plant churches everywhere he drove. On that stage, he said to our church, "Today, you are an answer to our prayers." Vision starts with a passion to change what is broken. For the prophet Nehemiah in the Bible, it was the walls of Jerusalem, and people had just gotten used to the walls being broken. Nehemiah, with God's favor, gets the resources and rallies the people to work with their families near their homes and near their heart. Despite opposition, the people rebuild in 52 days what was broken for 141 years. In the process, Nehemiah and the people remember who God had called them to be. While learning Nehemiah's story, New Lifers started asking, what's broken in our world, and what are we going to do about it? Where is my place on the wall? Who else shares my passion? For Carmel, it was coordinating New Lifers to help 3rd graders learn to read. For Melinda, it was throwing a prom for the special needs community. For Ashley, it was the idea of Outrageous Christmas, real people meeting real needs around the holidays. For Matt, it was a dream he wrote down on a napkin that men would be set free from addiction. Looking around our community today, are things still broken? Is there still more to do? A divided world needs a united church. Where is your place on the wall? Jesus began to move on the hearts of the leaders to invest big into the hearts of kids and youth. People gave above and beyond their regular on-the-mission giving to launch ministries and camps for youth and kids. Connie met South Kitsap teens in the Fred Meyer parking lot and drove them to meet with other students in Kitsap to hear about Jesus. Summer camp grew from a few students to buses and buses and buses. Kids camps were launched. Kids and their families were given an opportunity to meet Jesus. Families like Tessa's. She says it best. Arrows out, across the street and around the world. See the face of Jesus in everyone you meet. We had an assignment. Jesus had a mission that people becoming the church were invited to be part of, and that mission led New Lifers to help heal the world. Jesus once fed 5,000 people on a hillside. As a church, we set a big goal to feed and sponsor 5,000 kids around the world. So far, millions of dollars have been given to eradicate child poverty by New Lifers. One of those New Lifers was Karsten. Here he is at 11 years old, committing to get 5 kids sponsored. He wrote a letter to our church saying this: "If you think you can't make a difference, think again. A child with no hope is waiting for you." A lack of clean water is a leading cause of death in the developing world. New Lifers walk for water. Kids brought in change to kids camp. Families sacrificed to build. 9 wells, 3 schools, and a health center for people who had no access to clean water. There are more slaves in the world today than at any other time in history. New Lifers, learning about the evils of human trafficking, decided to do something, anything, to make a difference in this fight against slavery. Starting with a few teenagers, New Lifers started doing what they love to fight what they hate. You baked, ran, woodworked, planned dinners, hosted events, and used your creativity to raise money to fight. In the past 6 years, New Lifers have raised almost $500,000, praying that human trafficking will be ended in our lifetime. New Lifers have loved the city of Mazatlan, Mexico for over 10 years, partnering with local churches to build feeding centers in low-income neighborhoods, host soccer camps to present the gospel to children, and worship in prisons with men who are being discipled to become spiritual leaders for their families or inside prison walls. One of those amazing pastors from Mazatlan went to be with the Lord on February 15th of this year. Pastor Carlos, we honor you for your faithful service to the city of Mazatlan for over 20 years. New Lifers have learned much about being on the mission with Jesus from Carlos and will miss him dearly. New Lifers celebrate the good news they found in Jesus by coming together at the Lord's table for communion to remember the death of Christ, and by baptizing our friends, family, and neighbors as we remember that Jesus is risen from the dead, and he gives us new life too. One baptism led to another, and another, and another. A disciple is someone who hears the voice of Jesus and obeys. Jesus is speaking to you today. What is he saying to you? What are you doing about it?